David Selema from Consult and Grow in Coverleaf, actually in Quebec. David, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, excited for our new collab. We're going to be working and giving you
Indeed,
some medical patients or those wanting to be medical patients for cannabis, which I'm
indeed.
passionate about. How did you get started? I guess obviously you had a passion for this as well.
Exactly. I mean, I've been passionate about cannabis for, oh my God, for now 20 years. It's really something that always attracted me. And later on, when I was a teenager, I got diagnosed with epilepsy actually. And so I've been on medication for a long time. And when I moved to Canada, I was 21 years old. I moved from France and I came here, and I'm about a year or two later. Uh, I met a guy that is one of my partners today, Angelo. And Angelo really showed me the way of medical cannabis and introduced me to it, about how CBD worked. And that was 10 years ago. The guy was really advanced in his knowledge about CBD, CBN, CBG. He knew already all those topics very well, and it was really a mentor for me in that sense. And he created that curiosity within me that I wanted to know more about how cannabinoids work with the body. And the more I read about it, the more I was into it because it's so complex. And then you realize that your body actually uh, creates those cannabinoids molecule by itself without having to actually consume the plant. And then you understand all that mechanism, and it's just wow. You realize how uh, nature around you is meant to actually work with your body and enhance it and help you, and it's just fantastic. And so that's how it all started. And I got off my medication for my epilepsy after a few tryouts of different products. We find we found the perfect full spectrum CBD oil that I started to use 2 times a day. And I mean, I never had to touch a pill again. And I mean, even today, I don't take my CBD
Hey.
as regularly that I used to, and I'm still not having a seizure. And I'm touching my head there, but I know it's not going to happen. Um, and it's not just the fact that the cannabinoid helped me, but CBD, the use of cannabis, calmed me down a lot, and that helped me change my habits. And changing my habits was a game changer in not having seizures anymore as well. So I think CBD helped me both directly and indirectly to
I love that.
become a healthier person. And to this day, I mean, I cannabis plays a role in my, well, workout, in my professional life, in my relaxing life. I mean, it's just a plant that has so much to offer for so many different uh, people and conditions. I mean, it can go from the stress of the everyday life. Uh, you can walk in somewhat like that in a very stressful environment. You can be an entrepreneur. You can have the stress of so many things, and cannabis will just help you relax in that sense. There is the anxiety, chronic anxiety. It's something that is touching more and more people. We
Huge.
It's huge. It's crazy. We have so much uncertainty about the future. We live in a world that is disturbing at so many levels. And so, if you want the use of CBD only, you don't even have to get into the intoxicating effect of THC to actually get the benefits of cannabis. And I think this is really interesting. People have that stigma like, oh, I'm not going to start smoking weed so my anxiety stop. Anyway, weed gives you anxiety. Okay, there is a lot of truth in that statement, but there is even more wrong information. You can consume the cannabis in many other ways than smoking it.
Yes.
You can consume your cannabis without or with very low level of THC, depending your tolerance. And anxiety induced, yes, maybe you can have some anxiety due to THC, then just don't use it, or in very low level again. Um, but the plan itself will definitely help vast majority, I think, of people that do come to our clinic and have anxiety as issue and start using it the way they decide to vaping. smoking, even though we never recommend smoking because I'm guilty of it, but it's clearly not the same way. It's not the best way. I mean, it's great. It's the old way. It's the good way, and it's enjoyable. But it's not good. It's not. I mean, you're still inhaling smoke, right?
Yes.
So we always try to recommend people vape it. People, when I smoke, it really helped me um, instantly. And we have people with migraine, headaches, chronic pain. They want a fast relief.
Topical. Topicals. It's like
Topical.
taking it all through your body, put it right to the source that, it's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. But people will tend to think, I mean, for them, the smoking will just remove the pain so much rapidly than anything else. And I think the topical is the long-term solution. You wake up in the morning, you shower, hopefully, and then you apply the topical. And and you can do that 2-3 times a day. And if you do, the pain should never really be aggravating. Now, if it does, try to replace the smoke habit with vaping. It will have vaping has a higher bioavailability. So your cannabis can take much more cannabinoids this way. Your body can take much more cannabinoids this way, and it's less. It's vapor, so it's less harmful for your lungs. But anyway, that's just how complex this plant can be, and how broad the spectrum of people that can benefit from it is.
Everybody.
I
I
think
got into
so.
the industry because my son was one of the first pediatric cannabis users, and this conversation about the CBD versus THC has been a big one, especially for a parent saying, "I give my son cannabis." It opens up the door for that great conversation where you're
Oh yeah,
doing
full of
something that is,
judgment.
but a 20 to 1 where there's zero psychiatric effects. THC has to be in all formulations just to consume it, but under that 1%, it's doing
Exactly.
nothing. So absorbing that CBD, like you said, there's been other things that have come from just the initial like reasons. You were looking to not have seizures, and now you're finding that all these other things are like a spin-off or also beneficial. So we don't know what else it's doing inside of us, and that's the
It's
exciting thing.
definitely exactly, and I think the future of research is in the molecular research, where you will look at each and single compound of the cannabis plants, how they act together, how they act in the human body, and how it affects different type of people. But this is some very complex and long-term research.
Yeah.
But I'm
I'll leave
excited
it to
for the
the
results.
scientists. I love it. I'm fascinated by it. But
Me
wow,
too.
the studies that they must do are just like mind blowing. Like there's
Really.
144 cannabinoids. Like where do you begin?
Where do you
Uh,
start?
I know. I
And
love
then
your
the terpenes.
excitement. It's just I can feel it. Your passion there, and obviously your team is as well. They're providing amazing
They're
education. So
amazing.
how many staff do you have like internally in the clinic to service patients?
The clinic itself. So we the thing is that Consultant Grow, which is our consulting business, and the clinic, they have that synergy. And even within the employees, a lot of people work for boss business because it's just like a big family at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And but I will say the clinic, we have a medical coordinator, we have registered nurse, we also work with doctors, we have patient care. I mean, at least 6 people are working in the clinic every day to
And
be
you have your
able to
veteran
service.
program.
Sorry?
You have your veteran program as well there.
Also, as well, exactly, exactly. So we work with over 100 veterans now that are registered and actively using medical cannabis for mostly chronic pain, PTSD, but many other uh, symptoms like resting legs, many things. And um, it's a very interesting program because when you look at a veteran and you approach them and you say, oh, okay, you have that condition. Do you know cannabis can help? What do you think the reaction is? They just came out of the army They're
Yeah.
usually, and also that's another stigma. They're not 90 years old. It's not
No.
veteran from the Second World War. Most of the veterans in Canada are in their 30s, 40s,
Yeah.
right? People
It's a
always think we're dealing
misconception.
with 80 years old. No,
I
no,
always picture
no.
the Shriners in those little things with the little hats. Yeah, like
Because that's the image that is vehiculated by anciens combattants, like
yes,
veterans affair, and that vehiculates that image of the veteran from the Second World War, and not just them, also a lot of those foundation association that works with the young veterans are not represented, and they are the people we work with the most. They're in their 30s, in their 40s, and they they went they joined the Canadian Armed Forces around in their 20s. So they spent 10 years literally on the field. Those,
yeah,
those kids were going to Afghanistan, and they, man, they were like on the front line. So no details, but I mean, it's something you don't really come back.
no,
And so we deal with a lot of PTSD, post traumatic syndrome, and it's really sad to realize that all those people wanted to do is serve their country,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
and now their life is destroyed. And so when
They're
we
hard
can
to
break
approach.
this,
That's a hard conversation to have, and I know that your internal solution is amazing because you've got somebody who can relate, right?
exactly, indeed, Alexander Main is incredible. And when I'm seeing this story, I'm seeing a little bit his story, because in my mind is the guy I'm thinking of when I'm talking to you. And he was in Afghanistan at 19 years old, and to me that's shocking. You're still a kid,
Yeah,
and now you're fighting for your country. And so yeah, came back and is the best person to help us reach out to the veterans, because he understands what they're going through,
yeah,
and he understands how to approach them, and he comes from the same background. So when he says, I suffer from the same pain you do,
mhm,
and I use medical cannabis
yeah.
to relieve my pain, emotional pain, physical pain, whatsoever, then the person in front will be like, oh, you went in and did the same thing I did, and now you feel better. Okay, maybe I'll try.
Yeah.
When as me, if I do approach them, they'll say, I don't trust cannabis. It's a drug.
Hmm.
It's a drug. They rather take, and we've seen that, 30 pills a day.
Oh,
That amounts to 900 pills a month, because you have a pill for your depression,
yeah.
a pill for
Right.
your traumatic episode, a pill for chronic pain, and then you have all the pills for the side effects.
Yes. Huh.
And because then you're drowsy, and you don't have saliva and this and that, and you start shaking and you start having all those side effects. And it can be, I'm talking about really small things, but there is incontinence, and there is much more than
Can't
that.
sleep, can't eat. You know,
Exactly,
I get it.
exactly. So when we can break that stigma and help them use cannabis a little bit, and then start to reduce their medication, and then we see the same person 6 months after, their life has completely changed. The guy went from obese to fit, went from sad to happy, went from recluse to social, and you just and it's sometimes it's hard to believe that it can make such an impact on the long term. And that circle back to what I was saying earlier, is that you have the direct effect of the cannabis plant,
Hmm.
and then you have how it improves your life all around. And that's a good example for cancer, because
Yes.
you don't want to say yes, cannabis will heal cancer. And a lot of people wish we could and had more study. And there, Rick Simpson is a big advocate,
Hmm.
and I will agree with that. But even though we cannot medically say that it does heal cancer, we can say that it improves all other aspects of the life of the patients. And then you're laughing, you're smiling, the pain is less, the quality of life increase. You want to do things, you want to be with people. Done. Then you find joy, happiness, which is what you need in the first place to
Yeah.
heal anything.
Yes, and
Your
those
mental.
testimonies. I mean, people telling those stories, that's how the truth is told. Maybe this won't work for you, but this worked for me. And I think just that message, when you can see somebody's life change and their symptoms
Every day.
alleviated, and they can just, bear witness to that. I mean, it's fantastic. And I have these conversations all the time. It gives me goosebumps, because we keep
Exactly.
this out of our systems for so long. And we're noticing not just the improvement with our healthcare, but just the world in general, as industries
Right.
evolve around the manufacturing and using the plant the way it was supposed to be used. So it is really exciting, and consult and grow. I mean, you guys are getting into that build as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we had, when we started, we had to tackle both ends of the cannabis industry to be able to create in the future a, a cannabis market that will fulfill the needs of patients.
Mm-hmm.
So on the consulting grow aspects, we've been dealing with growers, processing facilities, making products, the distribution channels as well. We have people, like I said earlier, with website that will sell medical cannabis online. So we created the path so the patient can have a reasonable access to cannabis products. Because when we started what we do in 2016, when the ACMPR regulation came out, reasonable access was an utopia. It was ridiculous. You had 5 producers, inventory constantly changing, out of stock all the time, stupidly bad product, really high price, and you're a neo user and you're very sick,
You're like,
and and you say, I want to try an alternative solution because my drugs are not doing it for me, and that's what you get.
yeah,
How how can
not
it work?
reliable. Yeah, it
It's not
wouldn't be.
reliable, it's not reasonable, it's anti-constitutional almost.
Yes.
It's like it's a non-access to medical rights. So that was terrible. And so when we tackle the consulting grow aspect, I feel like we lower the barrier to enter the industry for so many people.
Hmm.
From the people, a lot of those people were from the legacy markets. They're the true legends
Yeah.
that created the culture in Canada for so many years and contribute to the success of the legalization and the product and genetics that we see today. So we're very proud to work with them, but we're also working with people that are more on the medical field and
Hmm.
that are approaching medical formulation product and grade. We're working with McGill. We're looking to work with McGill. We're in discussion with doctors there to start clinical trials. We're working with processing facility on new product formulation that will have an impact on the market that is totally great. I mean, it's just great to see that all those products are not there yet, and still we started consulting grow in October 2017. It's almost 4 years now, 3 years and a half, and to see that the idea we had on day one, it's still nowhere to be found on the market, really drive us
Yeah.
and help us push through and get it done. And so I'm very proud and happy to see that. But on the other hand, with the clinic, we have been able to educate people, inform, reach out to veterans, to other people as well, to civil of all ages. We have the 80 years old patient. We have so many of them because they're taking so much medication, and again, we're circling back to the lifestyle impact of cannabis. When you're 80 years old and you know that death is near, and I mean, what's worse than death itself is to apprehend it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you spend every day apprehending death, and the older you get, the more you do. And I mean, when you're in your 30s, in your 40s, you start apprehending death. So imagine when you're 80.
Mhm.
And so how cannabis can really help with that. And then it makes a much better life, end of life. We actually work with a naturopath in Montreal that does that. He actually follow people during their last days and palliative care basically. And he works with cannabis a lot with them,
Yeah.
and it's really enhancing
The quality
their
of life.
experience.
Yeah, the quality of life. That's what it's all about. And you touched on side effects from all these other things. I mean, that's no quality. So whether your pain is stopped in the moment and you get a quick fix, the repercussions of that, especially addiction,
Exactly.
it's just it seems like we need to change the way we were doing things before, so that we've got prevention and coping mechanisms that kind of withstand, these other pressures, and it's right there. Like, and I think what you guys are doing is great. You're looking to do your grow yourself, right? You're going to have a full turnkey ecosystem.
Exact. So it's called Whedon Botanic. Whedon Botanic is it's our newest project, and it's how we will basically link the two end of the industry, consult and grow in the clinic. It's through Whedon Botanic. It will be a park, an agricultural park of cannabis cultivation and processing. We will have dozen of different projects there from different clients from Consult and Grow doing cultivation and products as well, different brands for both the recreational and the medical market. Brands from the legacy market, from the old days that we're bringing back, the brands that helped us discover the depth of the cannabis
Mhm.
um, range of product. So very exciting project and quality product, organic, solventless, sun ground. So that's the goal, bringing all of this together and be able to redistribute it to uh, the patients mostly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
I love that you keep it all in house, and it's had a really good timeline for opening up all these other channels. I think a lot of people want to do everything all at once, and it's just impossible. So you got your foot in the door early days, and you know the lay of the land, and you'll do it right. And
Yeah.
I'm sure everything will
Step by
click.
step.
Yes, yes, it's you're well on your way, and congrats.
Thank you so much.
A lot of success so far. We're excited to work with you guys and support all the education that you can
Same.
provide, and all the next step
There
down
is so much we
channels.
could talk about to cover all the aspects of the clinic and the medical, the opioids, the vet, the pain, the cancer. But I feel like we should maybe do more of those
Yes.
educative content and help people understand how cannabis can really help them. So thank you again for this video. And if people are curious about the things we talked about,
Yes. How can they find you?
feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out to the clinic. We're here to, you don't have to buy anything. You are here to educate, to inform. So reach out to us, ask questions. It's free. And that's what we do. That's why we're there. So just give us a call, go on the
And you're
website,
bilingual.
coverleaf.co website. Just call us. Send us an email, call us. We're
You've got
listening.
a niche here in Ontario where we're supposed to be bilingual, but most of us are not. So
Oui, oui. On peut faire français aussi, c'est ça. French, English. We have Spanish in the company. We have Vietnamese speaking, so we can cover every communities too.
amazing. Well, that's really what Canada is, right?
Really
Um,
is.
so kudos to you. I'm going to put up your links, and of course, I think by the time that this goes live, we will be, having access to your system through ours. So I'll
Cool.
drive everybody there, and it's been a pleasure. We got to keep this conversation going as
Yes.
new thing unfolds at your clinic, at your grow, at your product formulation.
Anytime.
We want to hear it all, and I would love to speak to your veteran leader. I know it's Alpha Veterans, I believe.
Exactly.
Uh,
Well, Alpha Veterans is another association foundation started to help the veterans. It offers covers all different aspects like financial services for veterans and all kind of services that veterans are entitled to, and often they don't know about. So Alexander, through Alpha Veterans, help them basically find out about what is offered to them. On the other hand, our compassion program is with Coverleaf, and Alexander Main is our representative. But it's, yeah,
I
it's
would
all the
love to
same
talk to
thing.
him and hear all about that, and educate people so that they can get that image out of their heads, that it could be their next door neighbor, young guy, young woman, and yeah, looks like me and you. So yeah, thank you very much, and
Thank you.
all the best.
Same. Have a great
Okay,
day.
all right, you too.
Bye
Take care.
bye.